This is Jennifer Gonzalez welcoming you to episode 266 of the Cult of Pedagogy podcast. In this episode, we'll take a look at 6 EdTech tools you should try in 2026. It is that time again, the annual roundup of tech tools we think are worth a look this year. This year, I feel like there's really something for everyone. History teachers, math and science teachers, people who run makerspaces, teachers interested in music or podcasting, writing teachers, special ed teachers, and anyone whose content could be made clearer through graphic organizers. Since 2015, I've done this roundup as a way to launch the yearly edition of the Teacher's Guide to Tech, a PDF I published every year to help teachers find the tools they need to do their work better. The guide curates hundreds of tech tools, groups them into categories to help you find what you need quickly, explains each tool in plain language, then adds a link to the tool's website and a video that shows the tool in action. It also includes a glossary of over 150 tech terms and a robust tips section with articles that explore how to use tech thoughtfully from all kinds of angles. Last year, we moved the entire guide to a fully web-based subscription model. Unlike the PDF version, which was only updated once a year, the web-based guide is refreshed year-round. In the past year, we've added 40 new tools and made dozens of small corrections and changes as other tools evolved. We also removed 21 tools. This is just as important as adding in new ones, because a guide full of outdated links and tools that no longer exist is going to waste your time. Our goal is to carefully curate tools so you can find what you need and get back to teaching. Subscriptions to the guide are available in 6-month or 1-year timeframes. There are discounts for groups and for university students enrolled in teacher prep programs, and we accept purchase orders, so schools and districts can get subscriptions for a whole teaching staff. You can access the guide on any device, and if you're someone who teaches with any kind of technology, I think you'll find it an affordable, indispensable companion in that work. To learn more about the guide, go to teachersguidetotech.com. Joining me today to talk about the 6 tools is Marnie Diem, the lead technology specialist for Cult of Pedagogy. In the past year, Marnie has become the main person in charge of keeping the guide updated, along with a small evolving team of people who also contribute. You can see them at teachersguidetotech.com/about. I asked Marnie to help me put the list of tools together for this year, and in this episode, we'll talk about all 6 of them. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Foundry 10 for sponsoring this episode. Teens want to learn more social media literacy in school, but too often what they get sounds like an outdated PSA. Don't share personal info, avoid strangers. So how can educators make the lessons more relevant? Foundry 10 is an education research organization that blends research and practice to make a real difference for real youth today, while deepening understanding about effective teaching strategies. Through applied research, they are studying everything from social media literacy instruction to soft skills in career-connected learning to supporting number knowledge with dramatic play. They generate insights from impactful practices, expand ideas about learning, and create immediate value for youth, educators, schools, and community-based organizations. If you're looking for fresh, research-backed ideas you can apply in your classroom, visit www.foundry10.org/cultofpedagogy. That's foundry10.org/cultofpedagogy. Support also comes from School AI. There's a lot of buzz about AI in education right now. Lots of tools promise to save you time, and that matters. Teachers need support. School AI believes that the best AI tools shouldn't only make teachers' jobs easier, they should improve student learning. With School AI, every student gets personalized support that adapts to their level, whether they're struggling with the basics or ready for something harder. You get real-time insights that show you who needs you most and where students are making progress. As you can see, School AI is focused on student outcomes. They're building safe, thoughtful AI that helps every learner thrive. Visit schoolai.com and create your free account. Now here's my conversation with Marnie Diem about the 6 tech tools you should try in 2026. Hey, Marnie.
Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you're listening. Hello.
So you've been on the podcast a couple of times now in this January episode, but for somebody that's showing up brand new, let's just remind people what your title is in terms of cult of pedagogy, and then also what is your day job that makes you qualified to do this for me?
So, I am the lead technology specialist for Cult of Pedagogy on the Teacher's Guide to Tech, because you've got an amazing staff that supports Cult of Pedagogy in you. I get to focus solely on the Teacher's Guide to Tech.
Yes.
Which fits considering my day job is coordinator of technological adventures.
That's a great title.
I know. Well, we teach kids words matter. So, like, educational technology director is meaningless to many people unless you're in a school kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, coordinator of technological adventures at a K-8 school, pre-K-8 school in Metro Detroit, where my primary role is supporting the teachers and integrating technology mindfully into their teaching. I also teach 1st through 5th grade every week and project-based with 6th through 8th grade. I developed our digital literacy curriculum that goes 1st through 8th grade. And my favorite part of my job is that I still get to work with kids while I am exploring and investigating the latest and greatest in tech.
Yes. And that is one of the key reasons I rely on you so much, is because you are still in the classroom working with the technology all the time. And so you so often, you will either bring up a tool yourself or someone else will bring it up. And I want to acknowledge that we do have I'd call it at this point a loose team of people that we were a tight group of 4. This is Kim and Brandy and Lucia and you. And everybody's role has kind of shifted in one way or another to where some are not quite on the team anymore. Some are sort of partially on the team, but everybody sort of contributes and we're all still in touch with each other. And people are bumping in and out. And we've also got Mohammed, who is a new member of the team. So anybody that is curious about who actually works on the Teacher's Guide to Tech, go to the site and there's an about section that lists everybody that's involved. But lately, now that we've moved to online, I've relied on you primarily to really steer the ship and keep everything together. And so, I've counted on you because pretty much everything you're just like, oh yeah, I've tried it. I've heard of it. I've talked to somebody. I know somebody down the hall who's using it. And so I can't say that ever. So it's important, I think, for listeners to know that this is definitely no longer just me saying, hey, here's some cool tools you should try. This is coming from people in the classroom who are using this stuff and trying it out.
Yes, because with the rapidly changing scene of ed tech, what you use this week might be completely different in a month.
Yes.
So it's really critical to have boots on the ground. And we've got a great group contributing in the ways in which they can contribute. And somehow we've morphed into this fantastically working group that makes this guide amazing.
Yes. And let's talk a little bit about how the guide is different now that it was basically just a little over a year ago. I was starting in 2014. I put this guide together as a PDF that I published once a year. And I did that for about 10 years, putting it out every January. And it took 2.5 to 3 months of work every, holiday season. And it was awful. That guide it existed all year long. And so it was fresh and new in January. And then as the year went on, because of the constantly changing landscape of tech, it became less and less accurate and valuable as the year went on, because links would break and videos would disappear, names would change, companies would just sort of suddenly not exist anymore. And so after a lot of work and conversation and money, we finally have moved it to a totally online guide. And we're at the 1-year anniversary now of the Teacher's Guide to Tech existing entirely as an online subscription-based entity. So talk to me a little bit about, you've been on both sides of this. You actually were a consumer of the guide before you worked on the guide, when it was just me
Yep.
that made it. So what do you think are some of the advantages from the teacher's perspective of the guide being online? Because we've also got advantages from the creator end of it,
True,
for
true.
sure. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, as a consumer of the guide, when it was solely in PDF form, it lived in my Google Drive, it might live in
Hmm.
someone's hard drive. It was nice because you could always kind of pull it up, but it was also a little clunky in the sense that you always had to open wherever it was stored,
Hmm.
open the guide, and then scroll to find what you were looking for.
Hmm.
Like you said, it also was shiny and new in January, but
Hmm.
by February, March, you might
Hmm.
run into some hiccups. Now that
Hmm.
it's totally online, like I have it bookmarked on my phone. So it's a fully functioning website. I open it, I log
Hmm.
in, and then I can go right to the index, or I can go right to the tools section and
Hmm.
search by, it's alphabetical. The table of contents is alphabetical, so it's really easy. I'm working with a music teacher this afternoon. Let me go into the music section and see what I can find.
Yeah.
And everything is fresh and shiny almost all the time.
That's the big thing. Broken links don't exist for more than a couple of weeks before we can fix them. Yeah.
And we can fix them. I
Hmm.
mean, we get a broken link or a video that disappears, we can fix that and it is no longer broken. We don't have to wait for the
Yes.
annual cycle of, okay, here are the updates.
Yep.
And for people that are following the guide, for people that are actively using it, which everyone should be if you're not,
Hmm.
um, there is the change log almost list that,
Yeah.
every month or two, it lists whatever changes were made. So it is always relevant. It's always easy to find what you're looking for. And it's just nice that you're getting the most up to date in ed tech that you can get. And that
Yes.
everything comes with a little bit of a like, here's what this does, and here's why you should use it, and here's how it benefits you. So it kind of takes some of that stress off you as a teacher to go, oh my gosh, I have to vet this tool now.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because for the last few minutes, we're just talking as if everyone listening even knows what this guide is. But if somebody, I'll do that in my intro. I'll explain what it is to new people. But yeah, you're now talking about the original value of the guide that it's always had, which is, and I created it because I had teachers coming to me saying there's so many tools out there, I can't keep track of them and I don't have time to research them. So I thought, let me organize them into categories and just, I'll check it out. I'll look for a video that shows you how it works and I'll explain how it could benefit you. And if it's garbage, I won't even mention it. And that's basically what we do. Our whole goal is to just save teachers time, because we know they don't have it, to figure out what tools are going to benefit them, and then also to give them some discovery too, of just, maybe this is something you've never even thought of, but it's like, hey, why don't I try that? That might be helpful to me.
Yes, very much so. And I also think a really high value in the guide are the non-tool sections, like the
Hmm.
troubleshooting
Hmm.
and questions that you might not have thought of. I want to try this, but these are my restrictions. What can I do? So we have
Yes.
that whole, what is it, 3 or 4 sections in the guide
Yes, and
that,
that's called the tips. It's just the tip section, which is just lots of articles basically helping people figure stuff out.
yes, and it really is not only a time saver. I feel like that section is kind of like the cheerleader on the teacher's shoulder going, yes, you can do this. Look, other people have had the same
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Here's an answer. Let's go in, and you've got support to help you um, dive into some of these new tools.
Right. Right. So, okay. So we've been talking about how great it is that we're able to refresh this guide all the time. So let's talk about what changes you've been able to make over the course of the year. What has changed in over the course of 2025 that makes the current guide different than it was a year ago?
Okay, great. So, like you said, the original guide was a PDF published
Mm-hmm.
in January.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we launched in January this year, January 2025, and there were
Mm-hmm.
23 brand new tools in the guide in January,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty decent amount. However, throughout the year, we were able to add 40 more tools
Mm-hmm.
because it is a fluid document. It's a
Mm-hmm.
website now. So we
Mm-hmm.
added 40 tools throughout the year. We ended up removing 21 tools that were either shut down or shifted away from the education sector.
Yes. And that I'm going to interrupt you for a second because that's removing tools and also just saying no to tools, because we have a long list of tools that we're still considering, and some we're just like, that's not ready yet, we're not, or we don't like it, we don't think it's good. Everything that is not in that guide is almost as important as everything that's in the guide. That's the time saving thing, because if we just dumped everything in there, including stuff that didn't even exist anymore, then what we've given you is just a replicate of the internet. Like,
Exactly.
you
This
you
is
can just Google things now. Like, we're trying to curate carefully all the
exactly.
time. And
Exactly.
curation involves subtraction as much as it is addition.
Yes, and
Yeah.
updates. We had 3 tools that we were able to update because they had name changes.
Mm-hmm.
We had 21 tools that we changed the video either because the tool shifted focus or
Mm-hmm.
it had a bigger AI
Mm-hmm.
emphasis. And so they created a new video. So we updated that. Some of the old videos were pulled. So we did that. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, we also, I think right now I have 3 tool pages that are on pause because the tool itself is currently undergoing some sort of change and it
Yeah.
is still somewhat functioning. But
Mm-hmm.
instead of removing it completely, it's paused until they finish their updates, and then we'll be able to make the update and bring the tool page back to life.
Yeah.
So,
And that's just a really thoughtful move on your part to just always be thinking about the user experience when they come to the guide. We don't want frustration. We don't want people to waste their time. And so, yeah, we're pulling back on stuff when it's sort of pending. If you're listening right now and you're already a subscriber and you're just like, where would I even know about all these changes, and you've never noticed this, scroll down to the bottom where it says use the site, and there is a link that says update log. If you click that, Marnie basically just constantly is putting in either monthly, and now we've kind of moved to quarterly updates where she lists out everything that has been changed in the last couple of months. Here's all the new tools we've added, here's the stuff we've removed, and so on. So that would be where you'd know about those changes. We try to keep it kind of tucked away so that we keep the site clean. And
yes.
yeah, and that stuff is, but that the information is there because we want people to know, like, we're constantly working on this thing in the background. Yeah.
And I want to point out something that I don't know that we've talked about before in this January post.
Mm.
Not every tool that goes into the guide is a brand new tool. And you said some of them
Yes.
we sit and watch, some of
Yep.
them we're uncertain about, and then it jumps into the realm a little
Mhm.
bit more fully. So
Mhm.
there are tools that were added this in the 2025 calendar year, tools that I've been using for 10 years, but something shifted in it to make it more mainstream or more user friendly or more applicable to classrooms now that made it
Yes.
worth bringing into the guide.
Yes. Yes. I think that's a really really good point. We're definitely, anytime we say new tool, we don't mean it's new on the scene. It's literally just new to the guide. And you know what I thought you were going to say, but now I'm going to add, which is that not everything in there is a recommended tool. Like, we have a
Yes.
whole section of social media tools. Snapchat is in there, TikTok is in there. There's stuff in there that we're not necessarily saying, oh, use this in your classroom. But if it's a tool that your students know about or that you might use or that might have an intersection with education, we're going to put it in there. We're also going to put in there usually a mention of tools that have fallen out of favor for important reasons, and we will have those mentioned somewhere in there too, saying, like, so if you go to the search bar to look up a tool, sometimes that tool is in there because we've said, yeah, you should probably not be using this one anymore because of these reasons, whether it's a privacy issue or the content is really problematic or something like that. So yeah, it's I'm really proud of the work that we continue to
It's
do.
really, you
Yeah.
started this and it has morphed into this. I don't know. I refer to it almost weekly.
Which is really
Um,
saying something because you make it and, and you use it. So,
yes,
and I
I
do
mean,
too.
and but I don't know every tool down to the
Mm-mm.
nitty gritty because a lot of these tools were in there before I started, and I'm familiar with them
Right.
because of the transition from PDF to web based. But there are
Right.
times when I'll be sitting with a teacher and I'm like, you know what? Hold on. Let me go look and see what we've got in the guide.
Yeah. Because it's like
Um,
close to 800 tools now, isn't it around there?
yeah.
So it's,
You know
there's no
what?
way. Yeah.
That is a statistic I did not look up, but
Well,
we need to get that statistic because
yeah.
yes.
Every tool has its own page now. So it's a little harder than it used to be. But okay. Anything else we need to talk about before we get into the 6 tools?
One plug for the guide.
Yes.
I believe it is still on there that you can subscribe almost like a taste test where you can do a short subscription. Am I correct in thinking you can do like a 3 month? You don't have to commit to an annual
There's a
subscription.
6 month. There's a
Yes,
6 month
6 months.
option. Yes. Those are basically
Great.
your 2 choices, 6 months and a year.
That's perfect because
Yeah.
if you're jumping into this halfway through the year, hello, it's January, the 6 months is perfect. Or if you are, you're going into your student teaching, say, and you're only going to be in the
Yes.
classroom for a limited time, you can get the full benefit of the guide for that 6 months to give it a go. And I'm pretty much guaranteeing that once you get that 6 months, you're going to be extending it because it's just A, constantly growing, and B, such a handy resource.
Yeah. And I really am pretty committed to like keeping the price very reasonable so that, I mean, it's almost become cheaper now for us to have the guide online than it used to be because the man hours that we have to put behind this thing are like nothing compared to
Yes.
literal weeks and weeks and weeks on end that used to take to update it. It just doesn't take that much anymore. So yeah, it's affordable. And not only that, we've got discounts for group subscriptions that make it even cheaper. And I think we've even got discounts for like student teachers and stuff like that. Like there's lots and lots of ways to make it affordable. And I'll put some of that into my intro too, the more specifics. So yeah, thanks for that plug.
You are welcome. It's well worth it.
So every January, when we used to have the brand new guide, we would say, hey, here's 6 new tools. So we've decided to just keep that as a tradition, even though there's nothing like about the guide today that's being launched that's brand new. But here's 6 tools that we think are just worth a look. And, I've always phrased it as tools to check out, I think, because it's not that we're
Mhm.
saying like, you should be using these for sure, or they're going to benefit everybody. But these are just, we found these to be interesting and noteworthy this year. And one thing that you and I talked about before we started recording is that, for the past couple of years, the big thing has just been AI, AI,
AI.
AI. And it still is. And I think people coming to this interview are going to be expecting us to be going on and on about AI again. And we're not. And we're not necessarily avoiding it. It's just that it's become such a built in feature now of so many tools that it's no longer like a bright, shiny new thing. And we're not really emphasizing it. 3 of the tools that we're talking about today really don't have much at all when it comes to AI. And 3 of them happen to be built on like an AI kind of foundation.
Exactly.
But that's not really the theme this year, I guess, is what I'm kind of trying to say. That's not our theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI has kind of infiltrated everything. It's
Right.
just there now. It's not, like you said, that shiny new tool. It's
Right.
definitely not going away,
Yeah.
but it's just part of our everyday landscape now.
Right. And we're, and I'm still planning on having more like in-depth conversations about it, on other podcast episodes, but that is
Yes.
not going to be the theme this year. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about our first. And when we say tool, sometimes a tool is like more of a site and not so much a
Yes.
tool. So the first one is called Makers Making Change. And and for each one of these, I'm going to give the URL right out of the gate. So that is all one word, makersmakingchange.com. And you were very enthusiastic about this, and I can understand why. So tell us about this site and what they do.
So, the crux of Makers Making Change is empowering users, whether these are kids in a makerspace, clubs, teachers, or individuals, to 3D print tools that change other people's lives.
Mm.
And the focus is on adaptive tools. And I don't even remember how I stumbled upon this. I think it was from Instagram, actually, so I'll give that plug.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a post about a group of kids that were working in their makerspace, and they were printing like for people with Parkinson's, how they're a little wobbly, you can 3D print these um utensil adapters so that you can stick a fork in it and it won't wobble as much when they're eating. And it's a
Mm.
completely free platform. So these are, I guess, open source STL printable files,
Okay.
because it's about using your 3D printer to create or print or makers making change, things that will help other people's lives improve.
Mm.
And it just struck me. Both of my parents have disabilities, and I've worked with kids with disabilities, and it's just so inspiring,
Yeah.
especially because always, not just in today's landscape, for kids that are growing, finding adaptive tools, even 3D printed hands, limbs, all of the prosthetics, it's expensive when you have a growing child. And now,
Mm.
I want to say the first week of December, it wasn't Makers Making Change, but it's part of that group. A 3D printed mobility device was
Wow.
shared free so that people can print these little wheelchairs for little kids, 3D
Mm.
print them,
Oh my gosh.
and people can use them. So Makers Making Change right out of the gate just was one of those things that inspired me. I got a 3D printer this year, just a couple weeks ago, and it's been going almost nonstop.
Talk about what this site, how would this site be used in a classroom?
So if I was a classroom teacher or a makerspace teacher, because you do
Okay.
need that access to a 3D printer, you can go in and kids can actually, there are a couple of options. You
Mm-hmm.
can sign up to be a volunteer printer, and they try
Mm-hmm.
and keep it local to eliminate heavy shipping costs. So
Yeah.
they'll keep it within your state, or this is a Canadian based website, so they keep it
Okay.
within provinces or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And you can go in and volunteer to print tools for other people, and then you'll connect with them and adjust sizes based on their feedback. You can also do, and this was really cool, they have a list of design challenges. So these are
Mm-hmm.
requests people have made for some sort of adaptation that doesn't exist yet, or is
Mm.
not easily accessible because it costs, $3,000 to get. So students could actually go through the design process using whatever tools they have. If you're using a platform like Tinkercad, fine. If you're using something like Bamboo Studio, fine. It's platform open, and kids
Mm-hmm.
can go through the design process and build these tools that people have requested. You can
Wow.
also go in another section of the site, which is the part that drew me in, is they have around 200 assistive devices that you can download and print. So kids
Mm.
could then go in, find a print, they can work as a team. And I'm just learning how to do this. So you can actually customize and modify the print.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, like, I'm in the process of making a treat jar for my dog's um, food toppers, and I couldn't find anything in the size. So I'm actually building this from scratch, and I'm learning how to add paw prints to the edges and all this stuff to kind of make it unique, like each person asking. And then they have a really cool project around every holiday season that kids can get involved in, called
Mm-hmm.
Hacking for the Holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is there's all these amazing mainstream toys that people with low dexterity might not be able to use in the way the toy was designed. So,
Yeah.
Hacking for the Holidays is a way that kids can then print and build buttons. So instead of flipping a switch, someone with low dexterity can just press a button and it gets added to the toy so that it makes it usable for anyone.
That's
I know
amazing.
it's pretty unbelievable, and it's all donation based.
Yeah.
So there's no cost to join. Teachers could choose to start a club, kids can work independently. It's just absolutely amazing.
This, what I love about this, apart from everything that's obviously amazing about it, is that it's such a great example of sort of like somebody just having an idea. Because so often we sit around and say, it would be so great if somebody would just blah, 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 and then we move on. And somebody's actually doing this, which, you know, there's hundreds
Yes.
of examples of other things kind of like that too. But I just love human innovation and how people put ideas together and they make stuff happen and they make life better for people. And so just really inspiring. I think a lot of kids and people in general would just be like, this is just so neat and I want to be a part of it in some way. So
Yes, I'm
yeah.
on the list.
Yeah.
My name is in there for printing things for people local to me because it's just so easy.
Yeah.
And the way your heart swells when you are making a difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
I know, 7 and 8-year-olds that got 3D printers for the holidays this year. They have the ability with their printer to change someone's life now.
Man. And some of these I'm looking at like utensil extenders and light switch extenders, but then also like stuff for like Nintendo Switches just to help people have more fun. People that have been
Yes,
left out of just fun stuff. And I can see kids being like, I never even thought about this, how there are,
right?
kids out there who can't do. So yeah, this is just, thank you so much for bringing this to me. So this is the reason we made this one number one, because even if you can't use it in your classroom, I think it's just great for people to know about this and honestly just pass it on to people you know in your life. If you are a person with a disability, if you've got someone in your family, like people just need to know about it in general.
And can you imagine, because of the open source of all of this,
Mm-hmm.
someone who has some sort of physical challenge of their own
Yeah.
being able to then help someone else with the
Yes.
3D by 3D printing something?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's a nonstop circle of giving.
Yes. And how empowering that can be too. If somebody has so often been in a position of needing somebody else's help to be
Yep.
able, like you're saying, to be able to turn that around. Yeah, that's just fantastic. Okay, so that is Makers Making Change. That is our number one tool to check out in 2026. Number two is BandLab, which is just all one word, bandlab.com. Tell us what this is.
Okay, so BandLab, I don't remember how we got this tool. All I know is I will be using it starting next week
Mm-hmm.
because the platform that I used to use, I'm starting a podcast class. Nope, we're doing radio broadcasting, but it's the similar format. The
Mm-hmm.
tool that I used to use has a cost, which is not bad at all, but they also have a minimum purchase. And I don't have enough
Mm.
students to meet that minimum seat. So BandLab is your web-based platform that when you do the education version is free for teachers, and it's like GarageBand or Soundtrap. It's a recording platform
Mm-hmm.
where you can create and mix music,
Mm-hmm.
um, add sound effects, record podcasts, web-based and free.
Fantastic. So I mean, I use Audacity, but
Yes.
GarageBand is what people use when they are Mac based. A lot of that's the
Yep.
Apple version of it. And these have always been downloadable. It's software that you use locally on, none of them are web based. So this is a web based sound editor, basically.
Yes, and I want to point out something very specific because when I was playing with it, they have two complete veins. They
Okay.
have BandLab that
Mm-hmm.
has a built-in social media platform, and it's phenomenal for, over 16, working on
Got it.
building stuff, that kind of thing. But then they
Mm-hmm.
have the separate BandLab education vein. And if you go into the guide and click that link, it takes
Mm-hmm.
you specifically to BandLab education.
Okay.
But if you search BandLab education, you can get there from the bandlab.com. There's a whole, and the education side, I love because it's kind of set up like Google Classroom in the sense that as a
Mm.
teacher, you create a class, you can post assignments, kids can create, you have access to everything, and it's in a protected COPA and FERPA compliant section. So if they
Nice.
don't have any access to the social media aspect of the
Right.
site.
Yes.
It's solely for creation. And it reminds me of Soundtrap, which is phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
But this one is free. So it's a great place for starting out. It's a
Yeah.
great place, like as a teacher, after I introduce a tool, I'll use Book Creator, for example. We'll do an activity in Book Creator. The kids want to keep creating books, so I open a separate library for them
Mm-hmm.
so they can add their own. Even if as a music teacher or a classroom teacher,
Mm-hmm.
you like the idea of this, but you're not necessarily going to use it whole class, maybe for an activity or a project, one of the options could be recording something. You could
Yeah.
open Band Lab and invite the class to it, and then the kids that want to use that vein
Yes. Yeah.
can go and create that way. You'll have kids doing slide presentations or whatnot, but
Right.
it's just another resource that A, as a teacher, you know is safe and secure, and B, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to ask your principal for funding.
Right, which makes it a much faster yes. And you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, you said the word podcast and changed it to radio, but I want to just make sure that people realize that this is not just for music. People could just do audio recording, just spoken word.
Yes.
So it for almost, and that would apply to almost any subject. You could record things as a podcast. And I've been saying that for a long time for like writing assignments or presentations, like
Yes.
recording it as a podcast is a great final product. It doesn't have to be a PowerPoint presentation or an essay. It could be a
I
recording.
was
Yeah.
actually at a student technology showcase in Lansing at the beginning of the month, and there was a group of seniors that they learned about podcasting
Mm-hmm.
and broadcasting and everything in their English class. And now, for certain assignments, recording a podcast is one of their options.
Yeah.
So it's
I
not
love
just the
that.
written essay. The other piece about BandLab that I really liked is there are a lot of times where when you'll purchase a tool for a project, you use it for that one project and then it kind of sits there and you can pay the expensive monthly cost for it, or
Mm-hmm.
annual subscriptions are less expensive. But with BandLab, you can kind of try it out. So you want to pilot a new project or a new activity response for a project, and you can do it with low risk.
Right. You don't have to make a big commitment to a big subscription. Okay. Awesome. So that is number 2, BandLab, which is bandlab.com. Number 3 is called Brilliant, and that is at brilliant.org. What is Brilliant?
So, Brilliant is one of those kind of like a learning activity for the day. It reminds me of Drops or Duolingo, all of those different platforms where you can
Mm-hmm.
learn a language in 5 minutes a day. Brilliant has that option with academic tasks. So
Okay.
you could say, I want to improve my algebra skills, and it's going to give you a mini lesson every day that is interactive, that is, there's it's rewarding, but it's an extrinsic intrinsic reward, like
Hmm.
you're going for the street because you feel excited about that, but you're earning points every time you are responding correctly to questions online.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one side of it that's really kind of cool because it covers all of these academic subjects,
Yeah.
probably I would say from 7th grade and up. So I was
Okay.
practicing with my logic and probability last week because it's just kind of fun and my niece is in a class right now.
Mm.
The other side of Brilliant, though, is that the classroom side, as a teacher, you can create a classroom and you can assign activities to the students, but it's got these interactive pieces that really bring some hard concepts to life.
Mm-hmm.
So the example on their website is the Pythagorean theorem. A
Okay.
squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Yes.
Well, when I was in school, it was just memorize it. This is
Yeah.
what you need to know, done.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
my school in the past, we've had the teachers, when they're teaching Pythagorean theorem, go into the maker space and build this really complicated but fun project that actually
Mm-hmm.
shows what it means. Brilliant
Mm-hmm.
has crafted that as an interactive manipulative on their site. So each of these lessons that you can assign as a teacher comes with these built-in interactive models that students can then manipulate to almost discover the why behind concepts instead of just having to memorize the concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It kind of, go ahead. I interrupted you.
well,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, and as a teacher, when I've got, a high school math teacher or science teacher with 28 kids in a class, and you've just given an assessment and kids are struggling on different parts,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity for you to provide that reinforcement or that practice or that introduction to students where they are,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that allows you to monitor and observe, but takes the pressure off of you to create each, 17 individual activities and hand check each one. It kind of gives you all that feedback. And this is one of those tools that does rely on AI as a foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, you can provide such individualized support and learning for your students in
Yeah.
an active way instead of just passively consuming the screen.
So for one thing I would like to say about it, and this is just, I think it's a really pretty site design wise. It's very clean and very just
Yes.
attractive. And I think that's just always appreciated. Do they have, like, is it expensive? Can teacher, like, if I'm a teacher and I want to check this out, can I kind of try it?
Yes, there is a free version that is limited but
Okay.
fully functioning.
Okay.
So I was looking at like some of the technology sections. There's things as simple as search engines, which I do with 6th and 7th graders. There's
Mm-hmm.
complete lessons on understanding how things work. And there is there's a trial, and right now I think that if you were to sign up, you can get a sample of the premium to see if it's something that
Mm-hmm.
would even be of interest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just keep going on the regular version. So the free
Okay.
version, I'm pulling it up right now. You have your free trial. And where is it? There, guided paths for every journey. I'm not, oh, there we go. The free version gives you daily lessons, no matter what. The
Okay.
premium has no ads and personalized practice and jump ahead
Mm-hmm.
and courses
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But you can do the individualized learning every day with just the basic platform.
Okay. So the Duolingo style, like, lessons, those are
Yes.
available with the,
And on the teacher side, you have free access as an educator. So
okay.
that side does give you, once your virtual classroom is set up, you have access to everything on the free end. It just, I believe, means, and please, someone from Brilliant, if you're listening, let us know, um, that kids, kind of like a lot of the other platforms where it's not quite freemium, but it's free for teachers to assign things. But if
Mm-hmm.
students wanted to go and explore on their own or wanted to do beyond what the teacher assigned,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the premium comes in.
Okay. So one of the things they're saying on their site is that I've different kinds of use cases is that they can use their puzzles and interactives as warm-ups. They can use things as enrichment for kids that need extra challenge. I'm also trying to picture this too. So if I've got like 3 students in a class, it's a say it's a math class and they're struggling with some geometry concept. I can put them on one of these personalized learning paths that's going to like adapt to their,
Yes, and I
like that.
just,
Okay.
because I signed up for this a couple, like last week, I think,
Mhm.
but I just logged into my classroom side. And yes, you have, as a classroom teacher, it says you're all set to share Brilliant accounts with your students at no cost.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really quite robust on the teacher side. You can preview the courses. So yes, and we happen to have a math class with 3 kids in it. So it can be set up to support each individual student when you got the
Okay.
teacher side.
Oh, and I just looked at their Instagram and they've got a massive following. So probably
Yes.
maybe I'm the last one to hear about this, and people are going to be like, "Duh, we already knew about this." So if you are a math or science teacher, and I think it's just definitely worth checking out as just an extra tool.
Oh, 7th grade statistics they even have.
Oh
Wow.
wow, yeah.
I'm now that I'm on the teacher side for the first time, they've got some great, Yeah, and you can post things. It syncs with Google Classroom. Yeah, this is definitely something to add to your toolbox.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4 is called Napkin. Yeah, is it Napkin AI or just Napkin? They're saying Napkin on the site, but the address is napkin.ai.
Yes.
Tell us what Napkin is.
So, unless you're a super creative artist, which I am not, Napkin, which is now out of beta, it had been in beta for quite a while, it's a way to create visuals from text where you can do
Mm.
something as simple. I pasted in my bio and it created a really cool visual that the top of it was the back of it, like the eraser end of a pencil, and at the bottom of the graphic was the point of the pencil.
Huh.
And inside it had all of the different things I mentioned in my bio. And it has a free version, of course, because you have to try everything free.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, it took my bio and it split it into personal interests, technology certification, educational technology coordinator, all of the different roles, and then it provides you with a bunch of different options. So it sounds like it's something that could be in Canva or that Canva might be able to do or something similar. But
Mm-hmm.
Napkin has such a focus on the graphic design or the infographic end of it, the
Yes.
creating of um, charts and graphs and those things engineers love. What are they called? Flow charts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all sorts of different things that once it creates it and you choose the one you like, even once you've chosen it, you can then modify it. You can change the text, you can change the colors, you can add in a graphic, you can draw right on it. It's very easily customizable and it's an
Yeah.
awesome way to create visuals for someone who might not necessarily visualize what they want it to be,
Yeah.
um, but to create a pretty stunning startup of a visual for you.
Yeah. So this is, do we have this in the infographic section of the guide, or we have it in
We have
AI
Napkin
or
is in art and graphic design.
okay. So, yeah, so it's, I mean, I can see this being used by teachers who want to add more visuals to their instruction. And I can also see giving this to students as an assignment, as, that's part, I mean, I remember that being part of the Common Core is being able to integrate visuals into like a writing assignment or something like that. And so
Yes.
that seems to be an increasingly important skill anyway, to not only be able to produce text, but also make it more user friendly by creating visuals for an audience to be able to better understand a concept.
Well, yes, and especially we're in a world right now where there's so much discussion about the fact that kids in school don't read full novels anymore.
Yeah.
Everything is an excerpt.
Yeah.
And younger kids are getting hooked on reading graphic novels because they're
Mm-hmm.
visual. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is an excellent opportunity for teachers, like you said, to take text and present it in a visual way, and for kids to be able to take and assimilate what they've read from whether it's an excerpt or a chapter or whatnot, or what they're
Mm-hmm.
learning, and
Mm-hmm.
present it in a visual way so that we are able to reach learners through a multiple ways of seeing and absorbing information.
Yeah.
And it's easy and it's kind of fun. And you can
Yes.
work collaboratively. So it's got a collaborative piece. So it can be used for a group project where you can have multiple people working on the same graphic in real time.
Nice. Okay. And it looks like they've got a really good free version.
Yes.
So, do they have an education plan on top of that, or?
I don't believe they do yet,
Okay.
but that's, hopefully coming as we educators infiltrate their platform.
Here we come.
One of the things I really like about it is they have this brand function where you can create or add your own brand. So
Mm-hmm.
as a teacher, for example, if I was using this for a specific genre, I can then set up or require the kids to use this brand so I can put in colors or elements that I want to
Yeah.
see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a lot of customizable features. And like you said, the free version is incredibly robust. So
Yeah.
fun to
Okay.
play with.
Yeah. All right. That's great. I also think too, I think it could be very useful to sort of like English/language teachers, because prompting is becoming more and more of an important skill in the age of
Yes.
AI. And so I think it would be a really interesting cognitive exercise to prompt it to create a visual, see what it produces, and then realize, oh, I didn't communicate everything I needed to communicate, and then have to keep revising your actual written instructions.
Yes.
You get sort of immediate feedback on whether you actually were complete and clear in what you
Right.
wanted.
Whether you actually expressed what you were hoping to get out of
Yeah.
it in a way that other people would understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's an interesting use for it. Okay. So, speaking of writing, let's go to our fifth tool, which is called Short Answer. And the website is myshortanswer.com.
okay, I got super excited about short answer, and we're actually going to be trying it in one of the 7th grade language arts units coming up.
Okay.
But when I was digging into it, I stumbled upon, not stumbled, I went intentionally to their about and learned a little bit about the history of it,
Okay.
because this came out of Stanford's Graduate School of Education.
Okay.
So we know it's got a solid foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
it began as a design challenge for a capstone project and morphed into this platform, which the designers of it were literally using this as the capstone project. And then it got such traction, it won the Stanford Learning Design Challenge. It's won a couple
Wow.
other learning challenges and has gotten funding through that.
Hmm.
So the creators decided to, we're all in. Forget this being what we do after our job. This is our current job. And it's a full team now. And it's created this amazing, interactive, almost gamified writing experience for students, all ages. If you
Okay.
can type or use talk to text, you can use short answer.
Okay. Okay. So, explain what it does.
So, as a teacher, I would go in and set up my activity. And I can do that by logging into Short Answer, creating, and then you click create new activity. Or you can choose one of their activities, or you can have AI help you generate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I create my activity, and my activity is a writing prompt of sorts. And it can be something as simple as, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay.
And they
Mm-hmm.
actually suggest starting simple like that or
Okay.
fun like that to get
Mm-hmm.
kids into it. And
Okay.
then everyone responds. Well, let me rewind. You've created the prompt and then you launch it similar to the way you'd launch a Blooket or a Kahoot.
Like an invite code, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get
Okay.
the invite code. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
nice thing because kids don't need accounts. Kids'
Yes.
privacy is protected, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Okay.
then kids go in and respond and they submit it. But when you launch it, you can choose from, they currently have 5 activity types: a quick write, a parrot, battle royale, all in, and pen pals is in beta.
Okay.
And each of them does kind of what the name says. So if I launch this as a quick write, every child responds, and then as the teacher I get all the responses. And once the child responds, this is the cool part, is they get instant feedback from AI. So
Okay.
when I've created this prompt, I've also chosen or set a focus or multiple focuses.
Okay.
So it might be emphasizing word choice, it might be
Mm.
emphasizing the supporting details. Whatever you can think of as a writing teacher, it's in there. And
Okay.
so the AI is looking for those details. It's looking for whatever you chose for the focus.
Okay.
And then kids can respond to it. And then it takes all the names off, and depending what activity you choose, it will then show students everyone is submitted. So you click the next, And then it'll show students on their screens, everyone will see two different responses. And they have
Mhm.
to use the criteria, whatever you chose, to
Mhm.
choose which one is the better response, which one
Mhm.
meets the criteria better. And in the
Okay.
battle royale, it comes down to, you get to the final four and then you get to the final two. And as a class, you've just created an exemplar based on your students'
Yeah.
writing without their names being involved.
Yeah.
There's also things that you can do, activities that you can choose. Like our goal as a class is to get 18 points on this activity. So you
Okay.
go through the whole process and everyone ends up with a point score anonymously, of course. The kids don't
Mhm.
know who got what. And so our goal was 18 and we hit 17 points. Okay, we're going to have to work better on this next time. Or we hit 20 points. The underlying skills beyond the writing is that kids are learning critical thinking skills. They're
Mm.
learning to focus on a specific learning target, so to speak. So my
Mhm.
focus, just as when kids are writing and we're scoring essays, we are, looking for these were the two skills you were being assessed on. We're not necessarily assessing everything to build those critical thinking skills
Mhm.
in reviewing writing, in editing, in the whole revision process. And then at the very end, I think it's in with all of the 5 activities, at the very end, when the winning piece is chosen, everyone then goes and reflects on why that piece met all the criteria. So it
Okay.
totally gamifies pretty much the whole writing process while providing that individualized learning from the AI.
Let me make sure I'm understanding this piece of it. They submit something, but before it gets out to the group, they get the AI feedback and have a chance to revise before it
I
goes up
believe,
for like
yes,
a
that's,
vote,
yep,
basically. Okay, that's interesting. And when you say it doesn't have their names on it, I mean, I'm not sure if you've actually played with it or not, but does it just like assign, kind of those, the way Google Drive will just assign you like, purple platypus or something like that?
exactly.
Okay, so students, because I mean, I'm thinking if students gave themselves their own nicknames, everybody would immediately know whose it was because they'd be
Yes.
like, that's me. And, I always
Yes.
think in
And
classrooms, you have that always as a risk of kids like self identifying or looking over at each other and being like, I know who that is. Yeah.
yes, and the teacher, kind of like I know in Pear Deck, because I use Pear Deck,
Mm.
the teacher sees everything. So
Okay.
the teacher
Okay.
is seeing the actual um,
The little student
the
response
actual
screens.
student
Yeah.
responses,
Okay.
and the teacher is seeing the feedback and all of that. But then you go in and so you create your question or prompt. What superpower do you want? And as you go through it, what's kind of nice is they have, almost like when we use some of those platforms where kids are practicing for math. I'm thinking of Bottle. There's a little
Hmm.
step by step video next to each step of creating your prompt as to
Okay.
how to do this.
Yeah.
Built in are writing scaffolds. I missed that part. So
Okay.
if you're working with younger kids or if you're working on specific like starters, you can choose to have stems included. Whereas it would say, if I could have
Uh-huh.
any superpower, it would be dot, dot,
Uh-huh.
dot. There can be outlines, and then you choose that success criteria. And there are ones that are already in clarity, logical organization, transition, sentence variety, engaging word choice, unique voice, or you can create your own.
Yeah.
And that's how the kids are scored.
Okay. I'm scrolling on the site right now and it's saying something that I was thinking about too. It says create authentic writing activities in the age of chat GPT. Like this brings back live, write it yourself. Don't rely on, just feeding it into chat GPT or something like that. Like it gives kids more hands-on practice with actually writing, but in an environment where it's just going to be a little more fun.
And I hate to say this, but ChatGPT is not going away. AI is
Right.
not going away. So it's giving them guided skills almost
Mm-hmm.
on how they can use AI to support them in their learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm looking at this. So, like the Quick Write and Pen Pals are considered cooperative learning, and
Uh-huh.
the Parrot, Battle Royale, and All In are considered competitive learning.
Okay. So that's
So,
that's good. That's good to have both of those as an option.
and it's got accessibility tools in here. You can have immersive reader read to the kids that need it.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
has the ability to translate. So if you've got kids in other languages,
Mm-hmm.
it's a really, and it's new. I think it's within a year, but
Okay.
it's pretty cool.
Okay. So that is short answer. That is our fifth tool. And then the last one is something pretty simple. We just threw in because it's got some good stuff. It's called Retro Report. And that is at retroreport.org. Man, I love all these URLs are so simple this year.
I know it's so much better.
Yeah.
And Retro Report might be simple because it's basically a content library,
Mm-hmm.
but it is in today's learning environment, it is so powerful and so critical because what Retro Report is it's a independent nonprofit, like almost like a newscast where it's
Mm-hmm.
taking issues from the past and connecting them to relevant issues today. So
Okay.
it's doing two things in my mind in addition to a plethora of other skills, but it's bringing the history of our world to a relevant place for kids today. Because the
Mm-hmm.
way I think about it, um, September 11th was a huge deal for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was in my education world. The Challenger space shuttle blowing up,
Yep.
huge deal for me.
Yep.
My nieces are clueless because that is generations ago to them.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at book bans and student rights and all of the issues surrounding free speech and education, that has been going on since the 60s or before, but it's not necessarily relevant to kids like that.
Yeah.
Whereas for them to take what they're experiencing today and connect it to historical events, Retro Report creates lessons and videos around that idea. So it
Okay.
brings the history of our world and country to the present.
Okay. So so the whole site is these documentaries basically.
Yes, and the
Okay.
documentaries are anywhere from like 3 minutes to over
Mm-hmm.
an hour. And the longer ones might be broken into 3 lesson plans. So they've done all the legwork in building out lesson plans for each of these activities. They
Okay.
also have collections. So a newer element is they are connecting. They've got collections where they are taking books, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, with
Mm-hmm.
racial health disparities, didn't start with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
To Kill a Mockingbird and the lasting impact of lynching. Persepolis, I'm totally butchering
Persepolis,
that.
the graphic
Persepolis.
novel. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. The secret CIA operation that haunts the US Iran relations today. So, like, Persepolis is on my reading list actually right now. So,
Okay.
it has all of these historical events connected to modern and all of these literature pieces connected to students in a way that today they will be able to better understand it.
Okay. It
It's
looks
also
like it's
got a great
completely
search feature too. So like you can
okay.
search by, because there I think I stumbled upon this with media literacy.
Yeah, it says explore by subject and it goes, yeah, it's got like over a dozen biology, chemistry, civics and government, geography, physics. And then they've got some with lesson plans and some without. And it looks like everything's free.
Yes. And
Okay.
I like that, at least from what they say, they're an independent news source.
Okay.
So to me, that means, and it is from what I've said, they're presenting both sides.
Okay.
They're not aligned with a specific political party or political entity. They are
Mm-hmm.
presenting the full picture and connecting it in a way that kids will be able to better understand it because it makes it more relevant and timely.
Yeah. And so do we have this in our history section or the content library section?
This is
I'm
in, I
quizzing
believe
you
it
on
is in
this.
content libraries.
Okay.
Um, Although it could definitely fit in history, but because it
Yeah.
also has literature. It has the literature
Mm-hmm.
collections, and it's got media and news literacy. I don't know, it could
It could
probably
fit
fit in
in another
several
one. Yes.
sections.
Yeah. Content libraries is one of my favorite sections in the tech guide, just because there's a lot of places online now that are curating so much good stuff. And if you don't really know where to look, you will never find it, or you'll end up down weird rabbit holes. So those
Right.
curated collections are fantastic. And so when you showed this one to me, I was like, oh yeah, this goes right along with some of those other really good content libraries we have. So
And it looks
yeah.
like it's got support from New York Times, Frontline, PBS, ABC, Scientific American. It just really, there's also, I'm on the site right now, and there is, teachers can create it is a free platform, but you can create an account, and then
Mm-hmm.
you'll get access to exclusive lesson plans, professional development opportunities, and other events that they host for teacher knowledge and learning. It's
Yeah.
really just a neat, like you said, the curation section, the
Mm-hmm.
content libraries. It's important to find resources that are going to be useful tools for teachers and are going to be reliable sources. So it's really nice that we've got places like Retro Report where are pulling all the back end work together.
Yeah. And I mean, these look like really high quality
Oh, the videos
films
are
that they're making.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's a really professional operation over there. So, yeah. So anybody who teaches history or language arts or any kind of like media literacy or anything like that, this would definitely be another one worth checking out. Retroreport.org is our sixth tool. And that's it. That is a wrap on 2026 tools for teachers to check out. Any final words?
I'm excited. I would love to hear from teachers that are maybe trying some of these tools out as the year
Yes.
goes on, and what do you think of our picks, and how are you using these tools? Because not only does that help us make sure we're staying on track with the best of the best for the new things to try, not necessarily newly creative, but it'll also help other platforms create more tools or modify their tools in a way that will help educators meet their goals of engaging learning for kids.
Yes. And if you're listening to this and you have a tool or you know of a tool and you're wondering like, how do we get a tool into the guide? There is a contact button at the bottom of the Teacher's Guide to Tech, whether you're a subscriber or not, that you can just fill out a form. And I mean, we find out about tools from so many different places, and we certainly have been contacted by the people who actually make the tools themselves that say, hey, please look at this. That is an absolutely legitimate way to let us know. So if you've got a tool that you think we should know about that isn't in the guide, chances are a lot of times people contact us and we're like, it's already in the guide. You just have to subscribe, but it's in there. It's been in there for 5 years now. So
Yes.
But yeah, let us know. And yeah, I guess I'll see you. We'll have this conversation again in a year.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Marnie. To find links to the tools and watch videos of each one in action, visit cultofpedagogy.com, click podcast, and choose episode 266. To learn more about the Teacher's Guide to Tech, visit teachersguidetotech.com. And to get a regular email from me about my newest blog posts, podcast episodes, courses, products, and speaking services, sign up for my mailing list at cultofpedagogy.com/subscribe. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.